Hello everyone. Yes, so we're now at the 5th episode of Music and Myth, and as you can probably tell, this is the Aeolian Mode, which I've dubbed the Music of Tragedy, because it has this really sombre feel about it, as you can tell from what I've been playing. So what's it based on? Right, well, the notes are A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So basically the first 7 letters of the alphabet in ascending order. Now, you may this will raise a question, won't it? But you may ask, if you actually know your alphabet, which I'm sure you do, then why doesn't the scales start on A anyway, by convention? You know what? Why does, like, the major scale start on C, and the minor scale, or the Aeolian Mode, why does that start on A? Well, a lot of it I think has to do with the Greek tragic tradition. It's something, I mean, even though you can probably see or read Greek tragedies, you know, like Sophocles and Aeschylus and, you know, people like that, it's not really something that we embrace as much in our present culture. I mean, take for example, there's a cycle of plays by Aeschylus, and they're about the house of Atreus. Now, just giving a brief overview of that. It was in the myth of Tantalus. Tantalus tried tricking the gods because he thought that the gods didn't know what they were talking about. So he sacrificed his son. He actually killed his son, and because he thought, well, the gods won't be able to tell the difference between me sacrificing a bull and me sacrificing my son. So for that, the curse was put on him, and the curse was put on his descendants. Now that curse was only lifted with the death of Agamemnon, because Agamemnon, like Odysseus, was a Greek hero, from the Iliad, and when he came back home, he was betrayed and murdered by his wife, and then she was murdered by her lover. So I mean, that's like, you know, that's like the gist of the Greek tragedy. And then of course in the Christian tradition, but particularly like the Catholic or the High Anglican, there's the Good Friday tradition, you know, about the crucifixion and the Passion and that side of it. So the Aeolian Mode and the tragedy, that seems to signify that we're coming to the end of the dream cycle, that we're now starting to approach the return point. We're not quite there yet. So I want to unpack that a little bit more. That in the last episode we were talking about the Mixolydian Mode, which is about the affirmation. You know, that we wanted to commit to something. Now over time, you may have seen this, that we become further detached from that thing which we made a commitment to, or maybe say, like, you get the founders of these institutions, and then the next generation or the generation after that, they're not interested. They're more interested in, like, power and you know, and just maintaining the status quo, maintaining what they had, rather than trying to develop those principles. And then of course in the Roman tradition, you know, you have the dissolution of the Republic and the rise of, like, the Caesars, and then of course I don't need to remind you, if you're a Star Wars fan, you know, like the rise of Palpatine and the Empire and the dissolution of that Republic, So the death of the hero, or the death of the protagonist, it kind of reminds us of what we've lost, all those principles which we were striving for and which we valued. That it's only that, you know, when we actually see somebody who's, well, I mean, well, in the case of Agamemnon, it's about betrayal and murder. In Shakespeare, the Scottish play, did I say it's Macbeth? The whole thing about that is, you know, like that Macbeth has this prophecy from the three witches that that he'll become the king, of Britain, or Britannia, as it would have been known then, and so him and his wife then plot that they have to murder Duncan in order to ascend to the throne. But of course, Duncan is Macbeth's best friend. So then you have all that, you know, those scenes of, you know, by a great Neptune's ocean, wash this blood from my hands, and, you know, and all that sort of thing. So it's only really like with the death of a hero that we actually realise how much of our humanity that we've lost, and how much, particularly if it's like an institutional hero, how much that reminds us of that need to reaffirm or to re-establish those principles which our institution was founded on. It may also signify a change, which is why that's coming to the end of the dream cycle, and we're now approaching the return phase. There's another, I mean, in the key of A, I mean, there's another, I'm going to play it in key of A anyway, the Concerto de Aranjuez by Rodrigo, you know, this one, and it just has this drone A minor, and then you go. Like that. Yeah, in G minor there's things like the Albinoni Adagio. Yeah, so that's another example that we could use. Now there's a variation, or there's two variations on the Aeolian Mode. One's known as the Harmonic Minor scale, so which the notes are A, B, C, D, E, F sharp. Hang on, that's the Melodic Minor. That's the Harmonic Minor. Sorry, so I'll explain that in a minute. I'll explain why I went wrong there. So we got A, B, C, D, E, F, G sharp. Right, so the Melodic Minor, that arrived because, like the Harmonic Minor, that appears in a lot of Eastern music, but Westerners have trouble singing the Westerners have trouble singing that interval because it's a tone and a half. So just try singing. Not a lot of Western singers can actually reach that note. So somebody came up with the idea. Oh well, let's do the Melodic Minor. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and then comes. So So the notes are A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, back to A. And then you come down in a harmonic minor. So it's quite common then to actually play the G sharp. Yeah, it's quite common to play the G sharp and just drop that in as a variation if you're playing the it just makes it more emotive, and you may have heard this. But it was a modernist idea. I think it was Debussy, I'm not sure, who actually said, well, if we're looking at that melodic minor, if we play the melodic minor descending as you get some very interesting tonal variations there. So I think it's Debussy we need to thank for that, where the actual modes of melodic minor, that we can actually start incorporating some of those into our playing as well. I'm going to actually come back to that in a later video. We'll just have to see. But really for this one, I just wanted to get across that idea of like the idea of pathos and tragedy. Because like for the Greeks, this is probably why the scale starts on A to G, because for the Greeks, the Greek tragic tradition was quite central, because you know a hero could only prove his worth through self-sacrifice, because that seemed to be what what a lot of the Greek tradition was about, you know, and then of course some of that carries over into the Judeo-Christian and the Catholic tradition, because because of the Greek influence there. So if you've got any comments, please leave them below. I'll do my best to answer them, and I'll see you next time. Alright, thanks for watching.